there, it's Mindy from simplymindy.com, and today I am sharing 5 Dollar Tree DIY Valentine's decor projects. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe for more home decor on a budget. For the first project, I am starting with a piece of foam board from Dollar Tree, which I am going to cut into a square that is 6 by 6 inches. So I'm going to use my acrylic ruler just to measure an exact square. And once I figure out my measurements and mark out where I'm going to cut, I'm just using my rotary blade to get a nice clean edge. You could also just use a craft knife or scissors. And once I have my square cut out, I'm just taking this piece of copy paper to create a template of a heart so that I can trace onto the foam board and cut that out. And once I have my heart template cut to the size that I need, I'm simply going to trace it using a pencil onto the foam board, and then I will go ahead and use my craft knife to cut the shape out of the foam board. And I'm not worried about the jagged edges on the heart because I'll fix that later. For this heart, I wanted it to have sort of a shiplap look, so I'm using these craft sticks that are also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm using my blade to just cut those. That's an easy way that I found to get a nice clean edge. You could also use scissors to cut these, but you run the risk of cracking them. So I would suggest using a blade to just score it a few times and then break it apart. And once I have all my pieces cut, I'm simply going to arrange it in the way that I want it on the heart and glue each piece down using hot glue. And once I have all my pieces on, I'm just going to flip the heart over and use my blade once again to cut off any excess pieces for a nice clean edge. Now, I think it looks great just like this with just the wood, but I'm going for sort of a shabby chic look, so I wanted to paint it pink. And I'm using these two colors. This is a baby pink by Folk Art and just a white acrylic paint, and I'm mixing it just to get a softer, very light pink color. And I'm just going to paint that right on to the wood craft sticks. And then I didn't show, but I did go ahead and finish the edges by gluing on some jute twine all the way around. So I wanted this to also stand so that I could place it in a tray or just on a shelf somewhere. So I'm just taking one of Dollar Tree's little small wooden blocks, and I'm going to glue that right to the edge so that it'll stand up sideways. For DIY number 2, I cut another heart out of that same foam board, just slightly larger. This is around 9 inches wide by 7 inches high, And I'm going to use a sheet from this paper pad that I had from Hobby Lobby. I know Dollar Tree doesn't carry scrapbook paper, but they do have wrapping paper, which is a great option for this project. I was also going to use these doilies from Dollar Tree, but I decided not to, but it's still a great option for the detail that I'll add to the end. I wanted to use the scrapbook paper to cover the foam board, so I traced the heart onto the paper and cut it out using scissors. And then I'm going to use a tape runner, which is essentially just a double-sided tape, to glue the paper onto the foam board. And I'm making sure to put plenty of this tape on so that this is nice and secure. To finish off the edge of this heart, I'm using this lace ribbon that I've had for a few years. I'm not even sure where I got it from, but I'm sure you could find something similar at any craft store. Or again, you could try using the doilies from Dollar Tree. And I'm attaching this ribbon right around the edge of the heart, just like this, using my hot glue gun. And to finish this off, I thought these wood letters from Dollar Tree would look so cute. Just in their natural state. I'm not going to paint them or anything. I'm just spelling out the words "hug me," and I'm going to glue these right on to the center of the heart using hot glue as well. For DIY number 3, I am making a Shabby Chic floral garland. For this one, I'm making paper flowers, so I'm using a couple of different sheets from the same paper pad that I used for my second heart, and I'm gonna cut paper flowers using my Cricut. You could also easily make paper flowers by simply cutting out a circle or a circular shape and using your scissors to cut into that circle, creating a spiral. And you'll see how to create the flower in just a second. And I sized my flowers down to around 5.5 inches so that I could easily get 4 flowers cut out of one 12 by 12 piece of paper. To create the flower, I'm using one of my Cricut tools. This is the tweezing tool. It's used for weeding, but it also works great for this. I'm just using this to grip the very end of the circle, and I'm just simply twisting it right onto itself all the way around till I get to the very center. And once I get to the center, you'll see I have this little tab, and that's what's used to glue the entire flower together. So I'm just using my hot glue. I'm gonna put a generous amount of glue down at the bottom so that it will hold the entire flower together right at the base. And once that's glued together, I'm just gonna gently fold down some of the edges to give it a little bit of dimension. To assemble my garland, I am using a piece of jute twine, which I've already measured and cut to the length that I want. And I'm just going to find the center so that I can lay everything out and space all the flowers evenly. For the center, I'm just going to use this larger flower, which I had cut previously before I decided on the size of the other flowers. And all I'm doing is using a small dab of hot glue and placing it right onto the jute. To add to the shabby chic look of this garland, I'm using this pearl wrap that I also found at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut it into strips of 6-inch pieces. I'm assembling my garland by alternating between adding a strip of the pearl wrap and then adding a flower right to the jute. So to the strips of pearl wrap, I'll add a flower at the bottom, and then at the top right on the jute, I'll add another flower, as you see here. And once I have everything spaced out, I'll go ahead and attach it all with hot glue. Once I attach all the pieces to this half of the garland, I'll go ahead and do the same thing to the other half. For DIY number 4, I'm using again the foam board from Dollar Tree, which I'm going to cut into 3-inch squares. I'm also going to use the rest of that scrapbook paper that I used for the second DIY and more of the Dollar Tree wood letters. So for this project, I'm creating sort of a dangling sign. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but that's what I'm gonna go with. So I'm cutting these strips of foam board into, like I said, 3x3 squares. And then I'm gonna cut the scrapbook paper the same size. For this one, I'm going to attach the scrapbook paper using hot glue, And I'm just putting a tiny dab in each corner and along two of the sides. To add a little bit more detail to this, I went ahead and cut these heart frames using my Cricut, and this is an image in Cricut Design Space. I'll go ahead and leave the file name in the description box if you're interested. But it's just a frame with hearts that are cut out, and I'm gonna attach it again with the hot glue. And then I'll take one of the wood letters and add that right to the center. And I'm going to repeat this process for 3 more letters, spelling out love. Then to attach each square tile together, I'm going to use this lace ribbon that I had on hand. Dollar Tree does carry a lace ribbon. It's much thinner, but that would be an option. And I'm just gonna space them out and attach them again with hot glue. I did add some detail on the edge as well with the jute twine. And for the 5th and final DIY, I'm using more of that Hobby Lobby scrapbook paper. And I cut some hearts using my Cricut, but you could easily cut these out by hand. And these are about 2.5 inches. So what I want to make with these is a 3D floral pick. So I'm going to use 3 hearts for each pick. And what I'm going to do to make this a little bit easier is score each heart down the center. And I'm using my spatula tool. This is also a Cricut tool. You could use a scoring tool if you had it, or just the back of another ruler would do it. So I'm scoring each heart, folding it in half, and then I'll use 3 hearts to make 1 pick. So this is a floral ball that I already had on hand. I made this a while back and I'm just going to repurpose it. So as far as the pick, I'm using a wooden skewer, which I'm going to just measure to the size that I want it and cut it down. And to assemble the pick, I'll take 2 hearts and glue them back to back, 1/2 of one to half of the second one, add the pick in the center, and then add the 3rd heart. I hope you can see better than I'm explaining here. And there's my pick. And here's the final look of my 5 Dollar Tree DIY Valentine's decor projects. I hope you enjoyed this video and found some inspiration if you're looking to decorate for Valentine's on a budget. Thanks for watching.